Welcome to the Remembering a Life podcast. I'm your host, Holly Ignatowski, and today we're talking with author Colet Abedi. Colet is the author of Faye, The Dark King, Mad Love 2, and Madly in Love. But today we'll be talking about her newest release, Breed, and how her father, who in his final days was the inspiration for this powerful story about life, loss, and the very soul of our existence. A bit later, we'll talk about how you can win a free copy of Colet's book. Welcome, Colet. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, I'm so excited because I absolutely devoured this book, Breed. And I've already pre-ordered book 2, Shadow.
Oh,
so
wonderful. I'm so excited.
You know, and I love the sci-fi kind of fantasy genre, but this is a bit of a departure for you. It's outside of your wheelhouse, which is normally contemporary romance, women's fiction, and young adult fiction. What made you take a turn from your normal writing style?
Well, it's completely outside of my, wheelhouse, as you just said. I mean, it's not even something I think I would have pictured myself writing, 10 years ago, although I'm a big fan of young adult. But I was inspired to write this when my father, when he was dying, he actually gave me the idea, and the genesis, the seed, and it just grew from his illness. I mean, we would talk at length. I lost my father 6 years ago to glioblastoma, and it was completely a surprise, a shock to us, the diagnosis, and just the decline of watching him. I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking and talking about it. And we would talk at length when he was sick about the afterlife and souls. And my dad was a scientist, and he was very pragmatic, and he was really contemplating the idea of a soul and animals and their souls, and we just kept talking, and he kind of created this world, and he gave me this, big gift. And that's basically, sorry, I'm crying, basically how...
Don't apologize.
That's basically how, Breed was born, because of him, because this gift that he gave me.
It's a beautiful gift. So it was inspired by your father, and did he help you, as you said, work out the framework of what the storyline would be and all the characters as well?
Not in that a traditional way, but in a way, in the more esoteric way. I mean, when you read Breed, I mean, it's like you said, it asks a greater question of, whether we have a soul. And if that soul exists and that soul continues on, and I believe that it does. He gave me the idea of, the animals and just transferring that and what we were doing to the planet and how it was so tragic. And he gave me the foundation, and I kind of ran with it.
Colet, before we get too far into the book, can you just give us a brief overall premise of what the book is about?
Absolutely. It's an epic fantasy that takes you on a journey through an unrecognizable Earth. Man and beast are now merged. They're reptiles, mammals, birds, amphibians, and half human. And there are 4 kingdoms and 5 breeds. There's a fight for survival of one kingdom taking control of Earth. And we have our main protagonist who comes back to Earth. She's a cetacean, a dying breed, a breed that was supposed to be extinct, and she's come back to have a home. And it begins, and she falls in love with a breed she's not supposed to be in love with, so there's that, unrequited love story. And she's on a journey to find herself as well and to find her place here on Earth where she belongs. And
I feel like this book, this genre, really appeals to young readers as well as I can attest to, older readers. So it's kind of a universal genre.
It is. It absolutely is. I like to describe my book. It's a bit like Black Panther meets Dr. Moreau's Island. Taking place 1,000 years from now. It's a different world. It's a world we haven't seen. And it's a wide audience. It's not just for young adults.
Dr. Hetty, who is the father, sort of the creator of these new breeds, he uses what's called soul particle injections. And basically he's making, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of half human, half animal breeds. Can you talk about that?
Yes. Well, what's happened is we're in a future Earth where all animal life is extinct. And so what he has done is, in order to preserve something from the animals, he's found out a way to extract the soul particle. And so he's taken the soul particle of the animals and merged it with human embryos. And so he's created a new breed of people, of hybrids, I should say, and who are gifted with the knowledge of the animals and some abilities, but who look human and who morph or flicker, as I like to say it, when they're under or faced with high emotion. And so, they'll take on a bird quality. They can see very well from high sights, or they could love to fly, or they love to jump. And they morph into their animal when they have great passion or great emotion. They'll morph into their animal. So it's a really unique, different world.
I love that we're talking about animal souls and human souls. I'm a huge animal fan. I have to believe that all my animals are waiting for me in heaven.
Me too.
And yeah, so that it's a beautiful combination in creating a new soul. Now, one of the characters, in fact, what would maybe be the father of this new breed or these new breeds, is Dr. Hetty, and I can't help but notice that that's kind of derived from your father's own name. Was that...
Yes.
Okay, so talk about that.
It is my father, Dr. Hetty. He's the father of the soul particle, and I thought what better way to give him a tribute than to have him be the scientist in the book who discovers a way to continue, animal life on Earth, a piece of animal life on Earth. So that was a tribute to my dad.
Beautiful. And the soul is a very prominent theme in this book, Breed. And there are a lot of spiritual undertones as well.
There are. I'm an incredibly spiritual person. I believe in the afterlife. I believe in souls. I believe that we continue on. I believe my dad is there waiting for me. I believe he's with me now, even probably listening in on this conversation. And I feel that that's a message that I wanted to give to my readers, because it's so important to know that we survive. I don't believe that when we die, we die. We continue on.
Right. I believe that, too. Tell us about your decision to feature a strong female protagonist. Was she maybe, are we seeing a lot of your characteristics in the main character named Siren?
Yes. I think there is a piece of me in all of my books. I think it really works that way for all writers. And Siren, especially, she's on a journey to find herself and to find her place. And I think I've been on a similar journey like that since I lost my dad, and maybe even before that. So I've always been searching, and she's searching. And, I think that's a big part of her that is a part of me. And her loyalty and her strength. I'd like to think that those are attributes that I have as well.
There does seem to be a good amount of loss in your book, and I'm not going to give anything away, but there is the main character, Siren. She gets separated from a group of other travelers she's with, and there are some deaths in the book. Did this help you in your own grief and loss journey as you were writing this book?
The question really threw me because I didn't see at first, writing it, I didn't realize how much loss I actually did put in the book. And it's something I talked to my girlfriend who actually reads the Audible about. Yeah, I guess it was cathartic for me that it's life, and in life we lose, right? We are all going to the same place. We all will have some loss, and this loss is universal. And I think for me, it was important to show that this is part of life. People come and people go.
Last month, I spoke with a therapist who uses writing a lot with her clients and helping them through their grief journey. She thinks it's so important not only to write about, but to write to the people they are missing. Could this be somewhat of a letter to your father? I know he inspired you with the idea, and you felt him as you were writing it. Did it feel like maybe somewhat of a tribute to him?
Absolutely. This book is a tribute to my dad. It's a tribute to what he stood for. He was such a beautiful man, and he loved the earth, and he dedicated his life to helping the planet, and he loved animals. And it's just like the best kind of tribute I could give him. And I hope he's smiling down at me from heaven and loves every word that I wrote. That's all I can pray for.
And your mom, too, she kind of encouraged you, and I thought I read somewhere where she kept saying, is your book done yet? Is your dad's book done yet? Was she a big part in helping you not only write this, but get through your grief journey?
Yes. I mean, I'm Iranian American, and our culture does not process grief that well at all. It's actually something that it's debilitating almost. And so for my mom, my sister, and I, the three of us, we kind of banded together and became each other's rocks. And, if I had a moment, I had to cry, and I would call my mom. My mom would call me, every day, and just sob to me on the phone and just sob. And I would let her cry, and she would let me cry. And she knew that my dad was talking to me about this idea of greed when he was passing and transitioning. And so it was really important for her. And I think to see me almost as, like you said earlier, as it was as therapy for me, to see me complete it and to see me put the book out and to see me be proud of the book because it's something so different from what I usually write. And it's really my dad. My dad, he's on every page, really. Truly he is.
And we talked about how this incorporates human and animal souls. And the animals that you kind of cover all the kingdoms, reptiles, mammals, birds, amphibians, and also cetaceans, which are whales and dolphins.
Yes.
Do those particular animals mean anything to you personally? Some that you spoke of specifically in the book. Do those animals, did they have meaning to you or your father?
The cetacean, the dolphin, really was significant for me, and for my dad as well. My dad loved dolphins, and my dad actually was he's just a huge animal lover. I mean, my father was the kind of person, when we were growing up, he would take ants on a piece of paper and put them outside. I mean, he was very much about not killing life and respecting life and seeing life and revering life. And so, to be very honest, that's how I see all life on this planet, all animals, all creatures. To this day, I've never been able to kill an ant or kill a spider or kill anything. It's not in my DNA. And that is my dad, 100% my dad.
Do you have any advice for those of us who are not writers, how we might be able to honor our loved ones through writing? Obviously, we're not all going to write these wonderful books, but do you recommend it as a way to work through your grief journey?
Oh, absolutely. Journaling really helps. And it doesn't matter. Your sentences don't have to be complete. They don't have to make sense. Your thoughts can be a rambling, jumbling mess, but they're your thoughts. And it just helps almost because these are words or these are feelings that are coming from your soul, from your heart and gut, that a pain that you need to process. And it's another tool that you can use to help, move through your grief. And there's no right or wrong way. And there's no right or wrong way to grieve. I'm sure, you guys, talk about this all the time. I mean, ebbs and flows. It comes and goes. It still comes. It's been 6 years. I just cried. Now I'm thinking about him. I'm in my dad's space now. It's not easy. And it's a journey that we all have to go through at some point in our lives.
What do you think your dad would say about the finished product of this book? He was instrumental in helping you start it. How do you think he would feel about the end point of this book, the whole book?
I think he would be upset that I ended it the way I did book one. But I think he's very proud. I think he's very proud. I write romance. I'm a girl who I think I even ruined the Bunsen burner in my science class in high school. This is not my wheelhouse at all. So for me, this was really a journey kind of into my dad's world a bit as well, into that science, putting a science brain on as well, and seeing life a little bit more analytically in some ways, whereas I'm a lot more airy-fairy in the way I am. So he's proud. He's proud.
So let's talk about how this book ends. As I kept getting closer and closer to the end, I thought, what's going on here? What's going to happen? I don't know if we have enough time. But the story actually continues, doesn't it? I mentioned that I've already pre-ordered book 2, and so we're going to continue the story, correct?
Yes. It's a trilogy. And book 2 is complete, and it's very exciting. It's nonstop, action-packed book 2. It just moves really, really fast. And I think that my readers are going to be really happy with where the story's going.
Note to self, there will be a 3rd book. When can we expect the 2nd book to come out, to be released?
July 17th.
Wonderful. I'm really looking forward to that. Do you find that you might continue? You said that you write romance books, but this was something totally new and different for you. Do you like the genre? Do you think you'll continue in the genre, kind of even as a nod to your dad?
Funny you should say that. I mean, I don't know, if I'll do another sci-fi book right after I finish this trilogy, but I am right now working on a young adult book for my agent that is really about my culture and about how I grew up. And my dad is predominant. He's in it like a force. He's all over it. So he was such an incredible human, and he was such an incredible father and friend and husband and just one of those people that you're really lucky to know. And I will always do anything I can to honor him and honor his legacy. So he's a piece of everything I write. And so, I think that'll always be the case.
And it seems he's left you with a lasting gift too, whereas perhaps if he were still here or hadn't passed, you wouldn't be writing these books. You wouldn't be writing these kinds of books with this content. So it seems to be a gift that he has given and continues to give to you as well.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, my writing definitely has changed. I mean, it's, you change, right? A big death like this, it completely changes you in every way. And it did, and it has. And so I'm appreciative of that, I think I have a lot more empathy in the sense that, you don't know until you know, right? When somebody dies, you don't know until you know. It's like the club that nobody wants to be a part of. These are the phrases that everyone says that you don't understand until you're actually standing in the shoes. And so, yes, he's given me so much. His passing has just made me evolve as a human, and I hope as a better human.
The book we're talking about is Breed, Evolution or Extinction, and it's kind of a tribute to our guest, Colet Abedi's father. And on the Remembering a Life podcast, where this will appear, we will also, I believe, have your website, coletabedi.com, and people can check out your other works as well. I think we know the answer to this, Colet, but I ask every one of my guests, who are you remembering today?
I'm remembering my dad, Colet Abedi, who was just an incredible human, an incredible father, and he is missed every day, and he's thought of every day and loved every day.
Thank you for sharing that with us, for your inspiration and your love for your dad, and this book that came out of that love and relationship with your dad. We appreciate it very much, Colet. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us today. To learn more about grief resources, visit rememberingalife.com. And to enter our drawing for a copy of Colet's book, Breed, visit rememberingalife.com/giveaways.